Y'all, Vincent D'Onofrio, he's so good as Kingpin. Like, imagine anyone else playing that character in the MCU. It wouldn't work, but oh my goodness gracious. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Yes, I finally took the Spider-Man suit off, or did I? Maybe under my shirt. Doesn't matter. Today we're talking about Hawkeye, the season finale. We're going to go through everything that happened in this episode. So many battles, so many character moments, but I need you guys down below. How did you feel about this finale? Was it satisfying? And the show as a whole? I may be ranking it in the MCU later today, so stay tuned to this channel. But as of now, I want to get into what the heck happened in this episode. Let's start at the beginning. And they waste absolutely no time bringing Kingpin in. He is the very first thing that we see. He and Kate Bishop's mother, who has been behind a lot of what we've seen thus far. The death of Armand, that was a reveal. Also kind of framing her boyfriend, who I am thoroughly, or I guess I have, started to completely warm up on. I really like his character. Jack is super fun, entertaining, a nice chemistry with a few other side characters in this episode. He may take on LARPing in the future, but I do love what he brings to this show now, and we thought at the beginning that he was kind of a villainous presence. Turns out, a bait and switch, it was her mother, and her mother, even though she's trying to do what's best for her daughter, it seems like she's caught up in kind of the worst group of people possible. It's all being led by Kingpin and the conversation that they have at the beginning, and just the way that he goes about everything, down to the mannerisms that we know from Daredevil. And we still don't have confirmation if this is the exact Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevils. I still feel like this is a soft reboot of the character, and we get to see him in the midst of battle a little bit later, take on pretty much everything. But just that conversation, you feel how threatening he is. And then what he says revolving around Maya a bit later on, he's ruthless. And we know that. Telling Kate's mom, listen, it doesn't really matter. At this point, you have to let it go, whether it's family or not. And she says, no, no, no. And I like that she draws the line there. It is my daughter. I have to leave this situation. And she literally gets up and walks out. And hey, here's a hint. You don't walk out on Kingpin, and he makes sure a little bit later on, well, at least he tries to get his revenge when it comes to that. But turns out Yelena actually planted a camera, so Kate is aware of this entire conversation. She shows Clint, and Clint immediately knows, okay, we're dealing with something a lot bigger than we ever anticipated. Not only do we have Maya, not only do we have Yelena, but Kingpin, well, Kingpin is after pretty much everybody now. We're caught up in the midst of it. So, like I mentioned earlier, we go back to Kingpin and a conversation that he's having with Maya. And Maya, she's fed up with everything as well. So what Kingpin does is he places his hand gently on Kazi's shoulder and says, you know what you have to do. And that relationship between he and Maya, I do wish, because there was so much going on in this season, we didn't get, I believe, the proper exploration, but we got enough. I wish we would have gotten maybe a bit more, but we now know that he's having to go after Maya because Maya is almost defecting from this, just like Kate's mother. So everyone's turning on Kingpin, and Kingpin doesn't like that. So cutting back to Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, they're preparing for what they know is to come. They're preparing for battle. But what Clint Barton's kind of mentality is about all of this, we're so far into it, but I don't want anyone getting hurt. So once again, it's like, I don't know if Kate should be with me in this, but I mean, they've got the costumes. Okay, she's been with him this entire time, and it feels like he's more open to the idea that she is now of kind of a superhero status, which is really cool to see. And you've really been able to see Kate Bishop kind of grow into her own, even though it was only 6 episodes, but throughout these episodes, she's had growth, and you buy her ability to kind of do what she does when they go back to that party. And the party sequence, at least at first, was great because, you know, Hawkeye is getting shot at, her mother is getting shot at, and basically chaos is ensuing. Even the LARPers are stuck in the midst of this. They decided to help out on this mission. But within that, we get some awesome battles because Yelena comes in, and of course her mission this entire time has been to go after Clint. So while she's trying to hunt him down, Kate Bishop is doing everything she can to stop Yelena from doing this because Yelena is dead set on this mission. Now, we go back to what we saw last episode, and then a couple of episodes prior. That relationship between Yelena and Kate is just spectacular. The banter, the back and forth. We get a great fight sequence. A great fight sequence that almost reminded me of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, when the camera is panning from room to room and Cap is fighting Bucky. I loved it. I believe there's a fight like that in Civil War as well. But we get one with Yelena and Kate Bishop. That's great. In the elevator, the back and forth. Oh, so funny. And at one point, she's like, just quit making me like you. Why are you so likable? And she's like, I can't help it. I've got the charm. And then we get the outfit reveal. The costume. Very, I don't want to say to a T comic book accurate, but it's purple. It's the closest we've seen. She looks great. Yelena looks great. A very comic booky battle there, but one that's still realistic. And Yelena jumping out the window, I'm thinking to myself, is Kate really going to do this? That was kind of her first big superhero step that we've seen her take, because that's essentially risking her life. But you know what? She says, I can do it, and she does it. By the way, in the midst of this, Clint jumped into the tree at Rockefeller Center. By the way, I was just there last week, and I was able to take a picture in front of the tree. So to see all of this happen in front of that tree on this show, and the fact that it was just really cool to see. But guess who else was there last week? And I'm not going to spoil Spider-Man just in case you haven't seen it, but come on, y'all know you've seen it. There is a sequence at the end where Spider-Man's swinging above that tree, and I'm thinking to myself, is Spider-Man showing up? Spider-Man showing up. It's happening. He's not going to be in it, but at least he'll swing by. And he never swung by. But that's okay, right? It's not something that was necessary to this plot. It's just something that would have been cool. But we're getting this great sequence happening on the ice, both decked out in costume. They look great. They're taking out baddies. They're using some of these arrows. At one point, Hawkeye shrinks an entire group of people in a vehicle, and he's like, well, I'm going to have to talk to Scott about that one. We know which Scott he's talking about. That's Ant-Man with the PIM technology and the Stark technology as well. Just some great moments in that battle, some comic booky moments. And speaking of comic booky moments, I believe Kingpin's first outfit is we know that as the definitive Kingpin outfit. But if you look at the second Kingpin outfit, how about something straight out of the Family Business storyline? I saw that shirt and I said, oh my God, Marvel, you're doing everything right this episode. It's such a good finale, and it's down to the details like that, giving Kingpin these moments. But we're setting up these great individual battles after what happens on the ice. Of course, what's happening with the Larkburs and trying to help everyone out. Jack's down there fighting with his sword, right? We talked a couple of episodes ago how he would kind of fall into that persona, his superhero antagonist type persona, and it looks more like he's a good guy, which is super cool to see. But Yelena comes in, confronts Hawkeye, and while that's happening, Kate Bishop is, she's taken on Kingpin. And he says to her a little bit later, you know what, you took on Kingpin. Like, you can't ask someone to come off the street and do that. It's really impressive what you've been able to do. But she does everything she can to take him down. She shoots him dead on with an arrow, and I think that's the moment that will come into play a little bit later, okay? And I know it was a gunshot, but we'll see. But Kingpin, he's getting shot with arrows, hit by cars, he explodes about 3 times, and it doesn't matter because the dude is ridiculously strong. I think back to Daredevil, and yes, sure, it may be a soft reboot, but essentially it's the same character, right? At one point, he's in a room with the Punisher, and as amazing as the Punisher is, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, the Punisher needs to be scared, because this man is scary. And it didn't matter what was thrown at him in that battle. It doesn't matter. Kate Bishop was doing everything she possibly could to take him down, but she couldn't do it because the guy is incredible. I mean, he is a force of nature. And actually see that in the MCU, canon, Kingpin taking someone on like that, and he couldn't be stopped. It took a group of electric arrows, and of course, you know, the trick that she learned early on in the series, I think we all predicted that would come back into play, and it did, to take him down, and it still didn't take him down. The dude still walks it off. And then a bit later on, he's confronted by Maya, after Maya takes out her friend, right? The one that chose to go after her, bad idea, because Maya, a.k.a. Echo, she's a force of nature in her own right. But yeah, she confronts Kingpin, and thus Twitter freaks out. I've seen everyone freaking out on Twitter, and I don't blame them, right? After seeing all of these great moments from Kingpin, is he actually dead? He got shot, right? We heard it. But did we see it? That's my question. Come on, guys. Come on. Marvel's not going to bring him back just to do that to our boy. It didn't happen. It's not going to happen. We didn't see it happen. There's no body. He's alive. There's no need to freak out or panic. And trust me, I don't blame you, because he was so good in this finale. It's like, wow, did they actually kill him? You're not going to give our boy such a comic book accurate, well, in both cases, beginning and the end of the show, outfit, bring him back, let him cause havoc like he did in this finale, just to kill him off. Not happening. And these two pictures right here, straight out of the comic books, will tell you exactly why it's not happening. Now, this may be a little bit of a spoiler for what situation he's going to be in, but yeah, as you can see, this did happen once before, and your boy Kingpin, he made it out alive. So you know Marvel's getting that accurate with the comic book costume. They're going to stay somewhat similar to that storyline. And eventually, that blindness, it kind of goes away. Sorta. We'll have to find out how. He's coming back. Now, when's he going to come back? Where's he going to come back? And how did he survive? Come on, he took an arrow to the chest. He survived. Trust me, he survived. So I'm willing to bet money on that, but I don't have any money, so I'm not going to bet it. I'm just trying to alleviate your all's fears that he's absolutely coming back. But what a great moment for Maya, at least thinking she got that revenge, right? So, we have Clint taking on Yelena and trying his best to explain, listen, and he does it multiple times. He says, she sacrificed herself for everyone. She doesn't believe it. She doesn't buy it. And then she hears a noise that he makes that's saying, there's no other way around this other than the fact that you knew my sister. And she feels all of this pain because he was able to spend all of that time with her, right, when she wasn't. But she now knows that Clint is telling the truth, that he's being honest, and he feels this way about her sister. That was essentially his best friend. And, oh my God, the heartbreak that comes from that and everything behind that moment was great. And Yelena kind of breaks down at that point. It's great because Florence Pugh is on that level, and you can tell at that moment, just an acting force. I loved it. I loved that moment between them. And then, of course, the fallout of everything, it starts to come back to normal. We get Kate gets her mother arrested. That's something that's going to stick with her for a long time. What a tragic origin story for this superhero. And they're working on the name, by the way. They say that. Clint says you come across somebody that just makes you better in every way. Then, of course, he's joking around about it, talking about those who made his outfit. But honestly, I love the moment. I love the fact that she goes back with him and gets to finally spend Christmas with his family. That was truly, truly great. And then we finally get to see the fallout of that watch, and everybody was saying in a couple of episodes, and I guess that is the case, because she turns it around and has the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo. She is Mockingbird. Now, if you guys don't know, Mockingbird, or Bobby Morse in the comics, is a superhero who marries Hawkeye. I mean, it makes all of the sense in the world that she would have that. And, obviously, she used to have blonde hair. That's what we're kind of thinking, because that's how she looks in the comics. But they could change her up. Linda Cardellini, she doesn't need blonde hair. She's perfect the way she is. But they've set this up, which is interesting to me, because haven't we already seen Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Right? Or is that just... Okay. Regardless, I love the fact that they're bringing in these comic book roots for her, and if we do get a season 2, and I'm really hoping that's likely, we could see way more from Mockingbird. So I love that we got that reveal on top of all of these other reveals, and just a very satisfying finale, in my opinion, and a finale that ties a lot of story threads up, a lot of loose ends that I was thinking, they may be cramming too much in here to make it overly convoluted, and it never felt that way. The finale was almost seamless in a way, and I loved it. I loved, and even the action, I believe it took a step up from other episodes. We get to see Hawkeye and Kate Bishop do their Hawkeye things, but also a lot of great hand-to-hand combat, the individual battles, and Kingpin. Oh my God, he's so good. So I want to say thank you guys so much for joining me in these episode reviews. We have so many Marvel series coming next year, so we're going to be doing this very often, but I appreciate it big time. Hey, my question for you guys is, where does this fall in the list of Marvel shows so far? If you guys enjoyed this video and all of these videos, be sure to support this channel by dropping your thumbs up, leaving a comment on this episode, and subscribing, man, because we have a lot of Marvel content to come. I've got a lot of Spider-Man videos on this channel, but like I said, we're going to be re-ranking all the MCU movies. Then later this week, my top 10 TV shows and movies of the year. So join me on my movie watching journey. All right, you guys are the best. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.